people of YouTube, my name is Zara Hooper, and today I'm going to go through my birth story with Fletcher. I don't know why I'm out of breath. Also, if you can hear a clicking noise in the background, it's Fletcher's swing, because he's literally right next to the ring light in his swing. So I also might have to feed him at some point while I'm recording this. I apologize if this video is very scattered. My birth was very chaotic, so I honestly might forget things and remember them later. With Fletcher, like I said in my video before, I had a pretty miserable pregnancy. Nothing was wrong, but I just hated how I looked, I hated how I felt, and I just towards the end was so ready for it to be done. I was so big. Usually at a healthy weight, I'm about 130 to 140. I was 192 pounds when I went in to have him. So that was just a lot, and I was swollen and I just felt like crap. I called, this is like a backstory a little bit. At one point during my pregnancy, I had low iron, so I passed out a couple of times. I didn't fully lose consciousness, but I definitely almost did. And I called the on-call doctor to ask them if I needed to come in and be checked for anything. And she was extremely rude to me and basically told me that nothing was wrong with me and that I was just being stupid pretty much. And then when I went in and saw the nurse practitioner at my next appointment, she said no, you should have called. It was completely reasonable. Moral of the story, I didn't want that doctor to be delivering Fletcher because she was rude to me, and I wanted to make my birth the most comfortable that I could. So she was like, well, you can have an elective induction, which I kind of wanted to do anyways, which is my choice. I know a lot of people are very into going 40 weeks, going over 40 weeks, doing it with no medication, and that is amazing if you do that. You're freaking awesome. I didn't want to do that. So I had my induction scheduled for a Sunday night. They called me a couple of days before I was supposed to go in and said basically they messed up and overbooked people to be induced. So I needed to choose a different day. And I could either choose to go in that Wednesday to be induced, or I could come in on that Friday before to be induced. But if I came in on the Friday before, a different doctor was going to induce me. The doctor that could do it on Friday, I had seen in the office once before, and she was nice enough. And at that point, I just really wanted to get him out of me. Are you talking? So I was like, okay, just do it for Friday. Which kind of defeated the whole purpose of me getting induced, but I didn't want to wait any longer, which was kind of a bad decision. So I went in on a Friday at 8 p.m. to be induced. I had a doula, which is my very good friend Abby. I went in, Jacob was there, she was there. The nurses started me on Cytotec, which is a little pill they stick up in you to get you going or whatever. And I progressed very quickly. I think I had 2 doses of Cytotec, and I was contracting every 2 minutes, but I wasn't dilating. And then I figured, everyone figured, oh, I'm gonna be able to go to sleep while the Cytotec is working. And I couldn't sleep because when I was really anxious, and also I started having really hard contractions. And Jacob had worked all day, so he was sleeping. My doula was sleeping for part of the time, and I mean, her job was to be there with me, but she was also pregnant at the time, and I didn't really want to wake her up because I kind of felt like I was just being a baby about it, because I wasn't really dilated that much. So I was like, okay, it's fine, it's fine. And it got to the point where I was moaning in pain, and so eventually she got up and was helping me through that, and Jacob was still sleeping, which I know a lot of people get really annoyed about that, but it really didn't bother me that he was sleeping because there wasn't really anything he could do to help at that point. So Abby was there to help me. I mean, yes, some people would get mad about that, but I did it. I also could only focus on the pain, and it hurt so bad. And I preface this story by saying I'm not trying to scare anybody that is about to have a baby. I mean, if you're about to have a baby, there's no stopping it, no matter what I say. But also, my circumstances were a little bit off, a little bit different than most. Some people enjoy their birthing experiences and think it's amazing. I'm just sharing mine. And maybe some of you have had similar experiences to me, and now you'll know that it's not just you. So, anyways, they kept checking me. I wasn't dilating. I was just having contractions. So pretty early in the morning, I think, I asked them to give me the epidural. So they came in, gave me the epidural, and then I felt great. I could fully move my legs with my epidural. Like, my contractions definitely got better, but I could move my legs. Not 100%, but like I could lift them, move them over. And the whole time they kept saying, oh, you have really good leg control. And I was kind of thinking like, is it not normal for this to be happening? But I didn't really like know, because I've never had a baby before. I just left it, whatever, obviously. And so then they started me on Pitocin. They were giving me tons of fluids. I was so swollen. Like I said, my contractions were pretty good. They weren't really getting, you know, it wasn't too bad with the epidural. Then I hit transitional labor, and I felt like I didn't have an epidural at all. I could feel everything. I was screaming. It hurt so bad. It just, oh, it was so painful, and like even thinking about it makes me want to cry. The funny thing is though, is that when you're in that moment and going through the pain, like you don't cry. I didn't cry. I didn't cry in pain. I was like screaming in pain. Fletcher, are we talking about you being born? I'm trying to think, because I genuinely can't remember. I might have gotten my epidural after I hit transitional labor, but I don't think so. I think I got it before, and then I still felt the transitional labor after I had. That's what I think. I was very out of it. I hadn't slept in a very long time. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. If Abby watches this video, she can put in the comments what actually occurred there. But either way, I felt transitional labor. And they kept checking me. I wasn't dilating. Finally, they broke my water. That felt really weird. I think they broke my water when I was still feeling like decent. They had to keep putting this catheter in to drain my pee. And the whole time they were doing that, they had to do it like every hour, every 2 hours or something. Every time they would do it, I didn't feel it at all. But then right like around the time when I was actually like getting ready to push, I could feel it when they did it, like the last time they did it, and they couldn't get any pee out. And I was like, hey, I can feel that. And they were like, oh, well, we didn't want to give me any more of the medication, or I don't really know what happened, but they didn't refill my epidural bag because they said I was about to start pushing. Also, the whole time this was going on, Jacob was on one side of me, Abby was on the other side of me. I had seen the doctor maybe a couple times, barely. The nurse, I had one really amazing nurse through the night, but she left like when all this was going down. Then this other nurse that came in was just like all over the place. She was like throwing trash away, just cleaning, and like, I don't know, she just wasn't very present with what was going on. Then I started pushing, and she still wasn't really right there in front of me, and she wasn't holding my legs. Jacob and Abby were holding my legs. And apparently that's super weird. Like, usually a nurse is there to hold your legs. And I think they might have thought that since I had a doula, that like everything was chill and under control and that she could do everything. But she isn't a midwife. Like, she can't touch me. It was just really odd. I think there were points when the nurse wasn't even in the room, but I was pushing. And she would just come up every once in a while and tell me where to push and go away. It was really weird. And then I ended up pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. I was pushing for 3 hours. 3 hours. I was so exhausted. I remember looking up at the lights and I was just like, I am dying. Like, I am literally dying. And it was really scary. I had a cervical lip, which I'm not 100% sure what that is, but basically there was like a lip that Fletcher couldn't get past. So the whole time I was pushing, they kept telling me they could see him, that his head was right there. And so I kept thinking, oh, this could be quick. And then he wasn't coming and he wasn't coming out, and I wasn't making any progress. And like in the moment, I didn't really have time to think about it, but also like now later on reflecting, I'm like, he was in my birth canal for 3 hours. Like, why wasn't something done? At one point, the really nice nurse I had said, you know, he's not going to make it over this lip, and the doctor was like, oh, he has plenty of room, he has plenty of room. So she ended up having to give me an episiotomy and using a vacuum to get him out. But I had said I didn't want an episiotomy, and she originally wasn't going to inform me that that's what she was doing. My doula had to step in and say, hey, are you giving her an episiotomy? Otherwise I wouldn't have known, and I didn't want one. So she ended up sticking the vacuum on his head, pulling him out. He wasn't breathing. He was purple, and he had pooped inside of me. So immediately cut the cord. I wanted to do delayed cord clamping. We couldn't do that. They had to get him over there. I was so out of it, I didn't even realize that he wasn't breathing. And then when I did realize, I told Jacob to go be with him, and Jacob didn't want to. He wanted to stay with me because I was so exhausted and drained. They ended up getting him breathing. Everything was fine, but it could have went really bad. It could have went really bad. It was a really terrible birth, like awful birth. I didn't enjoy any second of it. When they laid him on me, I didn't instantly bond with him. I was so tired. After they got him breathing and gave him to me, he was just crying, and I was so exhausted that I handed him to Jacob, and that's okay. It's okay that I did that. At that point, I just couldn't. It sounds so awful, but I couldn't like deal with him crying on me. And it makes me sad that I didn't get that moment of like, oh my god, my baby, but it was later that night after I'd eaten and like gotten a little bit of rest that I was like, oh my god, I'm so in love with him. But like at first I didn't feel that, and it was because my birth was so excruciating. Yeah, there's a few other things that happened through the birth that I could get into, but I feel like I've already talked enough, and I would have to backtrack. But like, if anyone has any questions, if anyone has any questions about it, you can leave them down below or message me or whatever. I just thought it would be fun to share my birth story and see if anyone else had like a similar experience. I kind of wish they would have just taken me to C-section, and that now I know that I could have told them I wanted a C-section like part of the way through that, but I didn't know that. So yeah, next time if I have another baby, we will not be getting induced probably. But thankfully he's healthy, I was healthy, everything was chill, and now we got Mr. Buggyman. Yeah, so I think the next time I upload a video, I'm going to talk about baby blues and recovery. After having him, I'm trying to kind of like go in order until I get to a point where order doesn't matter. Tune in next time to see that video. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.